We got Dr. Corné Mulder in the studio with us. He's Western Cape Premier candidate for the Freedom Front Plus. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I actually said EFF Plus this morning. And that was very funny indeed.
Correct.
Is it funny?
No, it's not.
Yeah, that was a bit of a slip up.
It happens.
But you have been one of the more level-headed politicians. You've done your time. You've done the toenadering that was necessary from time to time behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know about the stuff that you do behind the scenes in South Africa's politics. And I don't understand South Africa's politics anymore. There was a time when you called for an organization like the United Democratic Front to be rebirthed nearly, for civil society to be more active in politics, get their hands dirty on the one side. And then there's the Zuma faction on the other side calling for what is the equivalent of a Broederbond 30 years after election. Where is South Africa? Have we come 360?
Yes, I think we have. South Africa is a strange place on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's a fascinating situation. And that's why I love politics, because it changes every day. Each news bulletin can say something may happen that changes everything. So you're absolutely correct. I've been fortunate to be there for quite a while. I was there when the ANC came to power in 94, and I saw it play out with all the different elections and different presidents serving and doing their things. But we are in an interesting phase now, and I think we are turning the bend at the moment.
There's a lot of you that went into Parliament in 1994. Some of them, I hope they just kind of leave.
Yes, I guess so.
I don't want you to leave.
Thank you very much. I intend to try and stay and still make a contribution, a positive one.
It's not about age, right?
No, it's not. It's absolutely not about age. Age is a number basically in politics. It depends if you can still make a contribution, if you still have something to bring to the table. I believe I do have something to bring to the table. I've been fortunate to be in a position where I'm not a leader of a party on the national level. I'm the leader in the Western Cape of the Freedom Front Plus. But after the 2021, it was absolutely clear that the results screamed coalition governments. And we started to go down that route, and I see it as a normalization of our politics, because we did not have normal democracy since 1994. And what I mean with that is we have a straightforward proportional system of representation. And in a straightforward proportional system, you're not supposed to have one party that dominates with the absolute majority like we've seen the last 30 years. But it is coming to an end now, and it's opening up wonderful opportunities to form coalitions, to get people around a table, to find some compromises, and to get the best for the people.
I like your billboards. They say we can fix it.
We have to fix it. We have to fix it. There are so many negative things. One can start to go down that road and to say everything is wrong, everything is a mess. But it depends on how you look at these things. We see this as an opportunity. We can fix this. We have to fix this, because in the end, what we want for our children, regardless from which community, would basically be the same.
You're doing overtures, making overtures, and I'm quoting now, West Cape Premier candidate Corné Mulder said his party was more focused than ever on wooing coloured voters to the party. You have, let's just say politely, maverick politicians, so-called coloured politicians in your ranks, Peter Maree and Leonard Max. They've flown very, very many colours in their past. Do you think those kind of people are going to give you the vote that you so desire?
I think it's individuals are important, but they are not the ones that I think will attract people. It depends on what your message would be to the electorate out there. And my responsibility is the Western Cape. The reality is that in this province, the coloured community are the vast majority in this province. And anyone who thinks that they can influence politics in this province without taking on board the issues from that community is not realistic. So I understand that. And for example, in the 2021 election, the majority of our local government councillors came from that community.
How do you perceive the issues as it affects so-called coloured voters?
Well, what we are saying basically is one of our slogans specifically in the province says choose freedom. And what does that mean? That means we would like to implement policies and assist the communities to get free of what? Of poverty, of corruption, of crime, of drug problems, of gangsterism, all those things that directly affect the community in a very specific way. We need to get that sorted out. And I think the will is there. We need to give people hope. We need to give people aspirations, and I think that can be done.
I would suggest that working class communities are disproportionately impacted by the very issues that you raise. Why is it not a class strategy rather than a demographic strategy?
It's true. No, that's absolutely correct what you are saying. It is a class problem in the sense that for various reasons. We've had this developed over many, many years, and I think it's time that we need to address this. And parties have come and gone for over many years making all kinds of promises. We're not making promises. We are saying let's get all involved, and that's why we also reach out to civil society and to business. It should be all hands on deck. Political parties alone cannot solve this.
Okay, let's talk about young people. Because also in both Leonard Max and in Peter Murray, we don't see that new generational kind of mind. We don't see it in Parliament.
Sure.
I think we need to make way for some of the young people. Are you reflecting that within the Freedom Front Plus?
I believe so. If you look at our youth structures in the province, we've got some wonderful young people from all communities coming through at the moment in the party's youth structures. Many of them are on our list for this election, and I think some of them will be elected. You must remember now, some people who are local councillors now will get elected to other spheres of government, be that the province or to national. And then some of these youngsters will also be able to move into local government, but even some of them are on the lists for national and provincial.
I want to get back to the coloured issue. It is perceived that so-called coloured people were previously disadvantaged, and now they are but a minority not needing redress. How do you perceive that perception?
No, that's nonsense. It's absolutely not true. My view is specifically that the coloured community has been in a very difficult position for various reasons for many, many years. And we can look at that. Prior to 1994, the coloured community was seen to be not white enough. And since 1994, it seems that they are not black enough. So it's a huge problem in that sense that, and I really think there's a huge cry for strong leadership also in that community, to stand up, to rise up and to say, let's look out for ourselves. And in the Freedom Front Plus, we want to be part of that.
Okay, let's go back there to crime, which is probably a rallying call for most of the political parties serious on making an inroads into especially that particular community. You said it was a class issue. Working class communities are disproportionately impacted. Is it not possible for the FF Plus to broaden the pitch?
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with that, and that's what we'd like to do. And at the bottom of all of this, I believe it's an economic problem. If people don't have jobs, if people don't have a future and they are not motivated, then things go wrong. And we see that in terms of social ills that are very vibrant everywhere, and that's a problem.
You've stuck your neck out. You've nailed your colours to the mast, and this question was expected. Chadley writes, why does Mulder's party not condemn the extreme cruelty of the Israeli state?
It's a difficult one. It's a complex issue, the whole question with regard to what's happening there. And I'm the last one, or the first. I will never say that these things are very simple and quite clear. On the one hand, you do have the situation where a country is entitled to defend themselves, and we accept that, and that's what Israel should be doing. On the other hand, it's very unfortunate. I had the privilege to visit Israel in March of last year. I was there. I was in the West Bank. I was at the border with Gaza and saw all those places. I was there before these conflicts. But the reality is that Israel claims the right to self-defense, and it should never happen that civilians get caught up in these kind of conflicting situations, but that is happening on both sides. So that is a problem, and in the end, everybody talks about.
So what is the FF Plus position in terms of this conflict?
Well, we believe at the end is it needs to be a political resolution of this conflict. Everybody talks about a two-state solution, but the challenge is, does that imply that there will be peace in a two-state solution? In other words, there's no use to create two states if they can't live in harmony next to one another and be good neighbors and cooperate and work together. It's no use to create two states and the two states want to destroy each other.
Yeah, well, we had a similar kind of problem and we chose a one-state solution. And I believe there's merit in that as well.
Yes, no, absolutely. The problem with the one-state solution is that you need other mechanisms than just the simple question of the right of people to vote. Because the true question in terms of a democracy is democracy really just the right to vote? Or nowadays, if you look internationally, it will tell you that true democracies are seen how you reach out and look after the minority communities in such a one-state kind of situation. So that's part of the problem.
Okay, so how are we going to fix the problems? You say we can fix it.
In the Western Cape, South Africa.
Well, if we don't fix South Africa, we're not going to fix the Western Cape.
I know. No, I think the time has come, from my perspective. The ANC has had 30 years to govern South Africa. They've made a complete mess of it, unfortunately so. They had huge opportunities. They squandered those opportunities. And I think the time has come that we replace the ANC. And that's why I'm quite involved with the whole question of coalitions and the formation there was of the multi-party charter. The multi-party charter is basically a pre-election agreement between some parties. And I think the one thing is clear, that after the election, nobody is going to have a majority on their own. There will have to be some kind of coalition and some kind of cooperation. And I think I'm a very strong supporter of that. If I say I don't believe in one-party rule, that does not only go for the ANC, it goes for the DA as well. Why would we say we are in favor of multi-party democracy as long as it is not the ANC? So I'm in favor of coalition governments. I think it's a better form of government because it forces people to compromise. It allows people to bring the best to the table. And I know people are talking about coalitions, but don't be surprised that we will end up with a coalition in the Western Cape as well.
Interesting. Now, people are seizing upon the 29th of May as the silver bullet. As daar 'n werk wat voor lê, Dr. Mulder, as hy net oor die 29ste Mei nie.
No, that's just a date. Well, there's one thing that says, and that's a very true statement, nothing focuses the mind like a deadline. So the 29th of May is a deadline for South Africa, and as I've said, everyone's got a responsibility. No one can sit back and say, well, this is going to be interesting, I'm going to watch this from the ringside seats. No, you've got to get involved, etc. The 29th of May is important as an election, but then the real challenge starts to turn this country around, to turn the province around, and to fix the challenges that we've got.
You have said, and we've got to wrap up, that you are supporting civil society Cape Exit movement. You are supporting secession for the Western Cape. So you do see the Western Cape in isolation.
No, we will never be in isolation. We will always be part and parcel of South Africa and Southern Africa, and that's part of the reality. What we are basically saying is that in the end we believe it's necessary to allow the electorate in the Western Cape to express themselves, and that's why we call for a referendum, a specific referendum to allow the people to express themselves. What kind of devolution, what kind of self-discussions, decisions they would like to take. And there can be nothing wrong by giving that opportunity. I'm a bit amazed that the Democratic Alliance is not prepared to give that referendum.
It's nearly 10 o'clock, and thank you, Dr. Mulder, for your time.
Thank you very much for the
Appreciate it.
opportunity.